Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS and Ascension. Now, we have some unfinished business in the north, and with the death of Von Geta, we've completed everything in Amkethran, and now the plan is going to be to finally go back to Watcher's Keep and conquer the place. And I find that this moment in the playthrough is really appropriate for such an adventure. Speaking from a role-playing perspective, the main storyline has slowed down a bit after we reached Amkethran, and we have some time to check out the lairs of Sendai and Abazagal. All the sides of the conflict are just in the middle of making preparations and gathering armies. Not much is going on yet. And from a gameplay perspective, this is going to be a really fitting dungeon to explore now, as both the challenges and the rewards are going to be very much in line with what we're dealing with nowadays in Throne of Bhaal. And my initial plan here was to go back to the pocket plane, craft some stuff, rework our spells, rest, kill Hexat, and then go to Watcher's Keep. But actually, we're going to go there right now, because we don't really need any special preparations for level 2 of Watcher's Keep, and I guess we're going to let Hexat live for a while longer. Now, when it comes to Watcher's Keep, if you remember from Shadows of Amn, we only did level 1, because I didn't want to get primarily the additional experience that would be involved when it comes to going through the whole thing. And when it comes to the items, we could just not use any of them, but when it comes to experience, once you get it, it's just there and you can't do anything about it. So yeah, I didn't want to do any more than level 1 of Watcher's Keep, because all of the additional levels just make Shadows of Amn less interesting in my opinion. But now it's going to be totally fine. Now this is going to be exactly what we need. And especially from level 3 of Watcher's Keep, we're going to have some cool, serious fights on our hands, and we're going to have a lot of fun over the course of this adventure. So now let's progress to level 2 through this portal we opened way back.
More suicidal fanatics willing to die in the service of hell, I see. Or have you been forced into service, as I once was a millennium ago?
Forced into service? What are you talking about?
Sounds like you have been tricked into doing Helm's dirty work. Looks like we are both unwilling participants in this little drama.
I really don't like any of these responses here. I wish there was a more neutral one, just wanting this demon to explain himself. But well, let's go with this one maybe.
Listen, friend. We can help each other. The fact of the matter is, you cannot get through the gate to the next level unless I open it for you. So I'm not going to let you through the gate unless you help me end the enchantment that has kept me bound in this infernal dungeon for the last 1,000 years. Do we have a deal?
What must be done?
Glad you've decided to be reasonable. The Helmites were never reasonable. It is so much easier to deal with one who isn't a fanatic.
This cage I'm stuck in was fashioned over 1,000 years ago by 4 archmages who combined the power of 4 diverse elements to imprison me here for all eternity. The wizards who trapped me here each had a lab on this level of the dungeon, where they worked to fashion the enchantments on my cage. Each wizard created a scepter to focus and channel his power. Only the combined power of the 4 scepters can lock or unlock my cage. So I will find the scepters. What next?
Gather the scepter keys and place them in the 4 slots around the cage. Once free, I'll be on my way. And you can go through the gate and take on the imprisoned one. If you still want to.
So I don't really like the idea of cooperating with this demon, especially the idea of letting him free, letting him out of this cage. But this is what we have to do. He actually has the portal key to unlock the passage to the next level. And as you can see, he changes form quite often. He has 4 different forms. And it's a really interesting concept that we're going to experience later. But when it comes to this level, before I really explain anything about it, we're going to have a conversation with an imp that's basically going to tell us all we need to know. But first we need to disarm some traps here.
Very well. We're good to go.
I know there's one here as well. Let's disarm that with M1, I guess.
If it must be done.
Right, so here's the imp. Hey you, yeah, I'm talking to you. Only the masters are allowed into libraries. What are you doing here? I could ask you the same question. I'm just the resident whipping imp, a menial servant, a serf, a slave, a vassal. The masters couldn't care whether I live or die. I assume you were talking about the wizards the demon in the other room mentioned. You shouldn't be talking to that one. He's always stirring up trouble between the masters with his hints and rumors and half-truths. Interesting. But anyway, I hate to tell you this, but your masters are all dead. Dead? Not surprised, I guess. I knew trouble was brewing. The masters must have finally killed each other off. You know, I bet that explains all those screams and explosions I kept hearing a while back. At least now I know why the fans shut down. Nobody left to start them up. You must be the dumbest imp in all of the Abyss. You mean you've just been sitting here for centuries, doing nothing? Hey, one of the masters told me to wait right here for further instructions, so I waited right here. I'm smart enough to know better than to disobey an order from one of the masters. Didn't you get bored or curious as to where everyone was? This response is a pretty good one as well. So how long were you going to just sit here and wait? Look, I'm an immortal spirit, okay? What's 1,000 years to me? And if you knew how the masters punish disobedience, you wouldn't have moved for 1,000 years either. I'm not sure whether to be impressed by your unshakable devotion to duty or appalled at your complete lack of initiative. With the masters dead, I've got no reason to stick around anymore. But since you did bring me the news that I'm free to go, I'll help you out. This whole place is powered by a magical fan. Without it, all the labs shut down. If you want to find anything besides empty rooms, you should start that fan up again. There were 4 masters, and each kept a library and a lab. Air, slime, cold, and fire were the magics that they practiced. The masters' pets and creations probably still inhabit their labs, so beware. Some of them are near unkillable if you don't know how to hurt them. A little hint for you, the masters were always planning to kill each other. Each master could use his unique elemental power against one of the others. So, before you go stumbling into something you can't handle, you should check out all the libraries. The masters were into some pretty strange stuff, but at least they kept written lab notes of their work. These notes will be invaluable. And now he's going to just disappear, giving us one last tip to go to the air lab behind him first. And that the fan there has a high and a low setting. We are going to check all of that out soon. Let's just disarm all of the traps. And we are going to go and check out all the libraries. Like he said, there is always a laboratory and a library connected to each of those elemental wizards. So the western side here, this was the fire library. And actually, you know what, before we go, let's actually loot stuff. Oh yeah, and I am going to first visit the libraries before going into the laboratories. Because, well, from the slime one we need a key, and also I want to visit these libraries because they are the spawn points of some creatures, and sometimes they are already there when you first visit a library, but sometimes they just spawn later, so I kind of want to keep visiting these libraries so that we can get the experience for killing the appropriate creatures, and also so that they don't pop up at an inappropriate moment while we are in the middle of actually going through the laboratories and being busy with some other stuff. Let's just give Sinashira some mirror images and just kill these fire giants before they can activate their whirlwind attacks, preferably. Alright, boom. Sir Animan actually leveled up. Oh yeah, we have these scrolls here from last time. And yeah, there are going to be some interesting goodies in these libraries. And some ammo, I guess. I guess we can take these and sell them later, but probably shouldn't bother with such stuff. Let's actually bunch up here to sort the gear properly. Yeah, we're going to start seeing in Watcher's Keep a lot of highly enchanted ammo, which is very nice. if you want to visit the place in Shadows of Amn, that +3, +4 ammo is invaluable in certain situations. Alright, here we have the fire library note, and there's always going to be first a kind of a mention or a note about the Chromatic Demon. That the demon, almost immune to physical damage, he actually is immune to physical damage, transforms into its ice incarnation. It is vulnerable to flame and fire. So basically, from the first excerpt of all of these notes, we are always going to be able to learn something about the Chromatic Demon's vulnerabilities, and it's pretty easy. Fire and cold counter each other, and then slime and air counter each other, so we have to use acid on the air elemental form and electricity on the, they call it a slime golem form, or slime giant I think, but it basically looks like a shambling mound. But anyway, he also mentioned destroying the air wizard, and that his own fire giant is invincible. So those are some clues, some hints
I am listening.
that we're going to explore a little bit later. Here we're going to have another Lum-Damad note. And I actually moved all of these notes by Lum-Damad to this separate scroll case of Saravok. These are going to be useful for us on level 4. And this Wand of Cursing is actually an interesting wand, but it first has to be recharged because it only has 1 charge. If we use it now, it's going to disappear. And you can recharge it up to 8 charges. And this is still not something that would be, you know, that great, especially since Deafness and Silence kind of overlap each other. But you can technically, with 1 spell cast, curse, I guess, a creature with all 3 of these effects. However, a save versus spell negates everything, so this is just going to be something that we might throw in every once in a while, without any expectations, and maybe it sticks, you know. Alright, so this fire library is done then. Let's check out the air library. And there might be some golems usually here already.
It will be done.
I guess they are not here yet.
Ready and all right, all right. Yeah, if that's what you want. Something, no problem at all.
I think there are only 2 traps in this room. There's one more. Yeah.
Yes, certainly.
And now we can get to looting. Actually, bullets +2 we are not going to take. Here's another note, this time from the air wizard. And another Lum-Damad note. So the air wizard, yeah, mentions that the form of the green slime giant is vulnerable to lightning. And this is funny. Finally have a plan to be rid of that sorry slime-loving excuse for a mage. These notes have some some good comments when it comes to describing the other mages, I guess. And yeah, he describes that if he turns the fan into his own laboratory on the highest setting, we are going to be able to use the wind to remove the noxious gas, I guess, that normally the poison laboratory is going to be covered in. Alright, so we're done with this laboratory. We're going to check back here to see if the creatures want to spawn or not. And yeah, words to the wise. This is something for Saravok
Without doubt.
to hold on to.
Nothing to it.
Alright, no creatures it seems again.
Yes, very.
Here there are a couple of traps.
Yep, this way then. Yes, quickly and precise. Tell me all about it. What you want? Gotcha. Nothing to it.
Right, I think those should be
What is it?
all of them.
Without hesitation.
Oh yeah, that differently looking book that we sometimes see is just the Elminster's Ecologies, that one book that described how to kill certain monsters. Here's a key that we need to open this door. Some acid arrows. Oh, and there's going to be a note from the slime guy this time. Yeah, of course he mentions that acid and poison are potent against the air incarnation of the Chromatic Demon. I've devised a way to be rid of the cold-hearted monster. And basically he mentions that using the fan we are going to be able to blow that gas cloud into the laboratory of the cold mage, and that is going to make his creatures vulnerable and be able to die permanently. Now, is this the one with the arrows? Yes. Alright, and finally the last laboratory. We'll see if there's going to be some, usually some wraiths in there. Still not yet. We're just going to have to keep checking back. This passage especially, we want to spawn these creatures before we really deal with the fire laboratory, because it involves some travel between the fire and the cold laboratories. And we don't want these like vampiric wraiths to spawn as we are kiting certain monsters. I think this is all when it comes to the traps. In this laboratory, we're going to have a really useful wand. Another note. Let's actually bunch up for that. Here we have a wand of spell striking, and that has 5 charges of breach and 5 charges of pierce magic. Unfortunately, something that is very, very unfortunate about this pierce magic is that it's not implemented correctly, and it actually does not remove spell protections from the target. It just bounces off of them. And we can actually demonstrate that just to showcase that I'm not crazy, and we could use, for example, our Book of Infinite Spells. And let's say we can give this protection to Senashira and get some spell turning. And now that she has that active, we're going to give this wand to Imoen, and she is going to cast Pierce Magic. Let's actually get some distance. Cast Pierce Magic on Senashira, and it's just going to bounce off right onto Imoen. Boom. And now Imoen has the 20% magic resistance lowered. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but Breach works as it is meant to work, as it is intended, so these wands are very, very useful, even with just being able to cast the Breach. Oh yeah, bolts +2 we can just drop. And yeah, we're definitely going to hold on to this wand, and that is going to free some level 5 slots, and the need to be semi-careful about our breach scrolls. Now we're going to have a wand with some breach charges, and that is not the only one, by the way, of that type. We are going to be able to get more of those later. I was under the impression that my bags were full, but I guess I just misclicked. We have some arrows of dispelling, which is pretty nice. There's a horn, there's going to be another one. They are used to upgrade a helmet. And now we have the note, and I think this should be... that is it. Alright, so let's read the final note. This one, this time from the Ice Wizard. The others refuse to recognize my contribution to this project. And yeah, when the demon assumes the shape of a winged, red-bodied beast, basically the Tanari kind of demon look, it's kind of considered the fire form, and then he is vulnerable to cold spells. And he also describes how to destroy the invincible giant of the fire mage. And basically, the trick is to permanently kill the fire elementals in his own ice laboratory, so that they cannot be respawned and reborn, I guess. Yeah, in the lava pit from which they are continually spawned. So yeah, a very valuable clue. And let's just check out some of the other laboratories if some creatures maybe wanted to spawn. Alright. We're going to get to killing them. And now we're going to go first into the air laboratory. And here we are actually going to have some use out of an item that we have not used yet. This Cloak of Reflection that is going to give us electrical resistance, a full immunity. And Jaheira has her Harper pin, and I think we're just going to have the two of them go in there.
Yes, certainly.
And in each laboratory there are going to be some minions of their respective wizards, as it was mentioned. And there's also going to be one prominent creature that keeps the respective scepter in their possession. Right, so here's the fan. It's not active yet, but we can turn it on. And yeah, some greater L elementals and lesser L elementals appear, and also that Air Guardian is invisible for now, because it's kind of like an upgraded invisible stalker. So we can just kind of go and deal with these guys. Let's just finish off these this greater air elemental, I guess. And yeah, we can get knocked back for a moment and struck by lightning while being in here. But this is not going to be a problem. Yeah, there's this lightning bolt that kind of keeps striking us every once in a while. I don't think we need to use any spells. I should have activated Armor of Faith on Jaheira just to limit a little bit of the damage, but I think we're going to be out of the danger zone very soon once we get rid of this air elemental. I mean air guardian. Just have to be a little careful with Sinashira. Don't want to lose her. And after these knockbacks, we have to make sure to reassign our characters to attacking again. Alright, so that's fine. Jaheira leveled up, and Imoen. Okay, now we have the air scepter in our possession, and now we're going to be able to crank that fan up to a higher gear, I guess. Yeah, now the airflow increases dramatically. We can open this door, and yeah, let's just go back through here.
I am ready. Yeah, direct me as you will.
And basically, when it comes to these laboratories, I think it's always going to be Sinashira with one companion going in, kind of to take advantage of some of the items we can use to limit the negative effects of each laboratory. And here we are going to go in with Sinashira and Kirinai, I think. And yeah, thank you, Cloak of Reflection. We don't need you anymore. Now here what we're going to do is we're going to get the Sword of Arvarine out of our bag here, and Kirinai is going to prepare our newly acquired Ring of Anti-Venom, because this ring, of course, makes us immune to poison, and gives us the 100 poison immunity that is going to be useful. And the Sword of Arvarine is noticeable because, or notable because it provides us an immunity to stun. And Kirinai is going to have it in her offhand for this fight. And we're just going to quickly cast one chaotic commands on Sinashira, because there's going to be the prominent creature. Oh, of course she has spell turning. Alright, so we're going to keep Sinashira a little bit in the back, I guess. And the prominent creature here in this laboratory is this giant snake, and the giant snake stuns with every hit and can poison. That's why we have that Sword of Arvarine. And oh yeah, actually I forgot to make Kirinai immune to poison by giving her the Ring of Gax, and of course we need to bunch up. Also, the thing with the laboratories is that that guardian creature is never going to leave the laboratory. That's why we actually have to, you know, engage in the mechanics of every laboratory to defeat that creature, get its scepter, and then be ready to progress. So I guess Kirinai is going to be the main actress here. And yeah, as for these slimes, they get respawned as long as this this gas cloud is present, and we have to open the other door so that the fan can blow the gas cloud into the library. Let's just first deal with that giant snake, and then we're going to be able to go in with everybody else, especially with Sinashira. Snake has some HP. I think he has over 100 HP. But once you are, you know, immune to its tricks, the stun and poison, it's not that dangerous. Right, now we can go in, and once we make some space, we're just going to have Sinashira open this door here. And yeah, now the gas cloud is going to go away. And now we can just get rid of all these creatures. Right, cool. So we can get the Slime Scepter from the giant snake, and here we can get... I'm not going to pick up these antidotes, but... oh yeah, that's an acid arrow. Let's get out of here. But yeah, here we have obtained the flail head, the poison head, that we are going to be able to attach to our flail of ages and upgrade it. And I think I am going to upgrade it with that flail head. Because there are some decisions when it comes to flail of ages, and I think we're going to just elaborate on that later. Yeah, now the poison cloud is going to be in the library. And that's fine for now. I think the ice laboratory we are going to do with Seneshira and Saravok. And we are actually going to give the cold boots to Seneshira to keep her safe. And I think we're going to use... She doesn't have any stone skins anymore. Alright, these spiders here spawned, and actually they take the poison damage from the cloud. Let's actually have them progress here. There are going to be some vortex spiders that we're going to have to be slightly careful of. And these mutated spiders, they are, you know, these little spiders, they can actually poison. With a poison, I think that deals 5 damage per second. And there are some sword spiders. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Let's just soften them up with a little fireball there. And just bring them out there. Oh, there was a Deathbringer assault from Saravok. There is this animation when that happens, but since his normal physical damage already killed the spider, the 200 additional slashing damage didn't even trigger. And you know, before we kill this... let's see if that vortex spider didn't die, it just teleported. Let's just keep Seneshira safe from that guy. Yeah, you can see that it's very slow, it can be outmaneuvered and just taken care of at your leisure. There's another one, it seems. Yeah, like I said, this level of Watcher's Keep doesn't really need anything special prepared. Just some items that we already have in our possession are going to be nice to combat all of the different mechanics of it. And with SCS installed, it's actually like the easiest level of Watcher's Keep in general. Because SCS upgrades the final fight, final statue fights on level 1 by a large margin, whereas it also upgrades level 2 and the final fight as well, but not enough, not nearly enough in my opinion. Anyway, we're supposed to go in with Seneshira and Saravok. Still have the air library and the cold library to clear out of some possible creatures there. Anyway, now we can open the door to the cold laboratory, and now that poison cloud is going to land here, since all of the doors on the way are opened. And that is going to make the ice golem here, which is the prominent creature keeping the ice scepter, able to permanently die. Normally you wouldn't be able to kill it. And here I'm going to also equip these boots to give some cold resistance to Seneshira. Just to be extra safe, because this ice golem can cast Cone of Cold. Oh, now we can see the Deathbringer assault. I guess Saravok was a little mad about it not triggering properly last time, so already he showcased us what this ability does a very short while after that previous attempt. Now let's actually have Saravok deal with the ice golem. Take his attention. Also, while being in this laboratory, we are slowed from the cold. But yeah, we're going to be fine. And that's that Cone of Cold. And that weapon ineffective is Seneshira's offhand. We are going to be able to deal with this ice golem soon. Alright, now it died. Right, now we have the other horn needed to upgrade. A helmet. And we have that ice scepter, and now we can actually just close this door so that the gas cloud stays in the slime laboratory. Let's check out now if these guys want to spawn. They are surely going to spawn at the most inappropriate moment once I am doing the fire laboratory. No, not spawning yet. But yeah, I guess we are going to have to deal with them at a later time. So here, like we mentioned, or like it was mentioned in one of the notes, this fire giant is invincible. It cannot be killed until 4 fire elementals that spawn from the lava pit here are permanently killed in the ice laboratory. And basically what you can do, and what we are going to do, is kind of just run around them if they don't block us, and wait for 4 of these elementals to spawn. Actually, back in the day I didn't know that it could be done that way, and I actually made 4 separate trips to kill each fire elemental separately, but if you just hang around here long enough, you can just wait for all 4 of them to spawn. And as always, the fire giant is never going to leave this laboratory, but these fire elementals are going to. See? That's what I was talking about. Now these vampiric wraiths spawned when I just want to kite these fire elementals to the ice laboratory. Alright, so what we're going to do here is bring Jaheira and Animan in there, and we're going to equip our rune hammer that we've obtained from Yagashira to make Seneshira immune to level drain from these vampiric wraiths, and we're going to pass the Amulet of Power to Jaheira, and Animan is just going to equip his Mace of Disruption, and hopefully we're just going to get rid of these vampiric wraiths here quickly enough. I don't want Seneshira to be the target of any of these elementals, especially now that we are being pretty stingy when it comes to using her protections, because I want to have some available for the final fight. Alright, that poison mist we don't really care about. Let's just get the attention of these fire elementals again and just kill them permanently here in the ice laboratory. And I guess the wandering horror followed us. Yeah, so they just freeze in here and explode. And once all 4 of them are done, we are going to be able to just deal with the fire giant. I think he is unique in the fact that I think he only has like a non-magical or a +1 weapon. Yeah, and our protagonist here with after the hell trial is immune to to his stuff. That was just a sad display of this invincible fire giant. Yeah, so here's that ice scepter, here's the other horn. We have to kind of just sort our equipment here a little bit after we bunch up in a second. Alright, and now we have explored everything. We just need to take care of some of the golems. I would like to take care of them in this laboratory here. They still don't want to spawn. Man, why are you doing this to me? Anyway, here we have a nice Helm of the Rock with 25 resistance to everything, with the addition of 25 poison resistance, which is kind of new, but you know, it kind of seems useful with considering how few items actually give you poison resistance outright, but since it's only 25, it's kind of difficult to stack it with anything else. But it's still a nice helmet, another one that gives us 25% resistance. Now this can go back to Jaheira. We can sort our stuff here. You don't need the Sword of Arvarine anymore. Saravok has everything he needs, and I think before we... Oh yeah, and that's the Fire Scepter, so now we have all 4. And I think before we actually proceed with the final encounter, let's just be extra sure and give this protection from acid maybe 1 to Imoen and 1 to Seneshira, just to be extra careful. And we're also going to switch to Arbane's sword for this fight, because physical damage doesn't matter. The Chromatic Demon is immune to all physical damage, but in one of his forms, that slime giant form, he actually has a special attack that can hold you. It's just a 1-round hold, but still, let's be extra careful on Seneshira and give her an item that is going to make her immune to that hold effect. And yeah, we can make Imoen and Seneshira protected somewhat against acid, because in that slime form that attack that can hold also can deal some pretty nasty damage. So anyway, once now that we have arrived at the final encounter here, let's talk about the Chromatic Demon a little bit. He should have been buffed way more by SCS in my opinion. So basically he can change his form every round. Sometimes he is just going to kind of change into his form that he is currently in, so he can stay for a longer duration in one of his forms, but with SCS he switches forms every round pretty quickly. He has 210 HP, he is immune to physical damage, has 4 attacks per round dealing crushing damage, and he can cast remove magic. I think it's either in all of the forms, or at least the ice form and this demon form he can cast remove magic, which we won't really care too much about. And every form has some kind of an offensive ability. So the air elemental I think has a lightning attack, the ice golem has cone of cold, the demon form has fireball, and the slime giant form has that acidic blob attack that can actually deal some serious damage. We're not really going to care about the fireball or the cone of cold too much. They do negligible damage, but what is really cool conceptually about this demon, of course, is that being immune to physical damage, we are always going to have to choose the proper element to deal some elemental damage to him, depending on his form. And I just wish he had like more HP and he was more dangerous, because he can be easily kited around. And you can just wait for the appropriate forms. The best one to really take advantage of is the Ice Golem, because there are so many tools with fire damage that you can unleash a lot of damage onto him once that form once he is in that form. And I think one more thing that we're going to do is actually give this Cloak of the Sewers to Saravok and just humiliate him a little bit after what he put us through in Baldur's Gate 1, I guess. We are still holding a bit of a grudge against Saravok, I guess. And we're going to make him change into a rat. And that is, of course, for the supreme crushing damage resistance. So he is going to be completely immune to the Chromatic Demon's attacks. Of course, the Chromatic Demon can switch targets, and he is likely going to want to attack some other people as well, but he might stay a while sometimes and just keep attacking Saravok for a little bit, kind of allowing our other characters to stay out of trouble. And I guess that's it. We are now ready. Let's just use this last mirror images on Sinashira. And I think, yeah, we don't really have much on Imwen, but that's going to be okay.
After 1,000 wasted years, I'm finally free. And now, to spread some seriously bloody carnage to make up for lost time. Oh, where shall I start? Where shall I start? Oh, I think I'll start with you.
Yeah, so after inserting all of these 4 scepters, of course he's going to be free. And we're just going to be able to keep our distance, try to occupy his attention. He can teleport around as well. This slime form is the most dangerous for Imoen. We are going to really try to keep Imoen outside of his immediate vicinity, his range. And this form is vulnerable to lightning. But a sad thing of affairs is, or state of affairs, is the fact that the lightning bolt coming from the staff of thunder and lightning, he is actually immune to. For some reason, this lightning bolt just simply doesn't work on him, which is a bit of a shame. But our wands of lightning are going to work perfectly fine, and we're actually going to take some wands of lightning and wands of frost out, probably. And I think Imoen has one, but we can also give one to Sinashira and to Kirinai. But he is likely, I think, going to change form now, so let's... Or maybe he just formed into this one. Yeah, I think we can give him a little shock here with our Wands of Lightning. And Kirinai, you need yours.
So be it. I go.
Chihiro, of course, is immune to lightning. She can run around in the middle of all that, no problem. Yeah, that dealt some damage. he is badly injured already. Oh, Animan got smacked a little bit. Alright, so here, when he flashes like that, he kind of changes form, so he stayed in this form for this next round. I would like to showcase some of his other forms. Actually, Saravok, go and try to grab his attention. Yeah, he has that remove magic. Come on, Chromatic Demon, show us something else. Alright, so this form is vulnerable to cold. We could go in with our Wands of Frost and unleash some Cones of Cold on him, but I would like to finish him off, I think, with some fire spells, because that gives us pretty much everyone an ability to do something. We have Wands of Fire on our mages, we have the Wands of the Heavens on our Divine casters, and Kira and I would be able to maybe cast a Scroll of Flame Arrow or something like that. And also that's kind of the reason why we put Saravok into this rat form, because he can't really unleash anything to do to this Chromatic Demon, so he can at least be a distraction and sometimes, you know, occupy the attention of the Chromatic Demon. So yeah, he can throw out some fireballs. Alright, now this is his ice form. Now we are going to finish him off with a bang, I guess. We are going to unleash 2 charges of wand from the Wands of the Heavens from our Divine casters. We are going to unleash some Aganazar Scorchers from our mages. And Kiranai, you need to sort your stuff a little bit, because we need, I think Imoen has a scroll, yeah, Flame Arrow. We can use a Flame Arrow on Kiranai. Let's just pass those scrolls properly and give her a chance to do something more. And boom! That was quite a bit of damage. But he is still going. However, the next tick of Aganazar Scorchers should finish him off. There was also that Flame Arrow. Just a level 10 Flame Arrow from Kiranai. Okay, he is still going. So I guess he is going to be finished off with lightning. Let's just allow him to teleport, see what he does. And let's just unleash our Wands of Lightning. And that should be it. Boom! Alright, and that's the Chromatic Demon. So, not a very threatening fellow. I wish he was, like, sped up and had more HP, had some more dangerous attacks. You know, there could be a lot of good ideas to make this fight a little bit more interesting, to spice it up. Thank you, Saravok, for your services, you little rat. Yeah, we can get these wands back already. And Kiranai is set with all of her stuff, and also, actually, we can use this spare potion case. Oh yeah, we also need to do that. And I think we are properly equipped with everybody. Now we can just loot the Chromatic Demon and get 3 things from him. This portal key, which is going to grant us access to the next level. This Ixil spike, which is just a +2 dagger for now, but it's basically a tip of a spear that Sespinar is going to be able to craft for us later. And we also have the Circlet of Netheril, which we are now going to be able to combine with the Bronze Iron Stone and make a really, really nice headpiece for Imoen. So, good stuff all around. I'm keeping this Wand of Cursing outside just to remember to recharge it later, but yeah, so that's level 2 of Watcher's Keep. Actually, one last check. Oh yeah, here they are. Iron Golem, Stone Golem, and 2 Clay Golems. We're just going to go in there with Senashira and instantly kill 3 out of 4. And then we're just going to go with everyone else. Also, he is casting that gas cloud, which makes us in need of our ring again. Alright, and now we're safe. We're going to be able to finish him off, get some additional experience, and be truly, truly done with level 2 Watcher's Keep. And there we go. Alright, so that is it. That's going to be it for this episode. I thank you for watching, as always. I hope you enjoyed this kind of a more laid-back, a little simpler level when it comes to combat. But yeah, in the next episode, once we progress to level 3, some serious stuff is going to start there. So for now I thank you for watching again, and I'll see you next time.